Okay, and we're about halfway through. So while it's Raphael's birthday, we're going to jump into what I'm soon going to call Deer Abbey. But right now, it's just Ask a Deer. All right, the hat of wisdom is on, and I am looking at your questions. Dear Abby, does a deer trust a moose? Why or why not? I think the fact that you can't see through a moose's antlers makes it that you can't trust them. So if you're a deer and you see a moose, to say that you could see right through him would be a misnomer. Distractor says, if you saw an eagle down the left path and you saw a lion down the right path, which path would you take? I'd turn the hell around, to be honest with you. Echo0176 says, Dear Abby, how do I flirt with a Blue Lions member? You toss them raw meat. They love it. Trust me. Bluestone 2000 asks, Dear Abby, I'm a freshman in the Golden Deer House, and there's this guy I look up to. How do I get Claude Senpai to notice me? Ooh, here's a good one. Plot a scheme. If you prank Claude, I think he's gonna notice you right away. Make sure it's like a good prank, though. Don't be like, the kick me sign is nice, but you know, that's lame. That's been done. Come up with something that's not too elaborate, like don't park a car on his roof or anything like that. But come up with something that's like clever, but also lets him know, like, hey, I appreciate you. I think that's how you can get that Claude Senpai to notice you. Prime Phoenix King asks the deer, any advice for people entering high school? You should use the front door. If you don't use the front door, it's going to look really weird. You're going to have trouble making friends, and you're probably going to get lost. So that's my advice for people entering high school. Use the front door. CEO of Olive Garden asks, Dear Abby, it's my mom's birthday tomorrow, and I want to do something for her, but my only talent is making D-tier memes. What do I do? First of all, I think you are at least a C-, maybe even straight up C meme maker, so don't sell yourself short. Second of all, make yourself a mom meme. Even just the word mom meme sounds great. Say it out loud. Mom meme. It's awesome, right? Make your mom a meme. Give her a little insight into who you are as a person. I think she'll appreciate that more than anything else. Sloth17 asks, Dear Abby, I've come down with a case of the feelings for Lorenz. How do I get rid of this? Open your eyes? That's all I got for that one. NJ Klein asks, Dear Abby, they say humans should watch for deer when driving, right? But hypothetically, let's say I am a deer who may or may not have ran over a human with my car and I am currently on the run from the police. Why don't we teach fellow deer to watch for humans when we're driving? Honestly, NJ Klein, humans are so dumb, there's nothing you can do to prevent them from running right in front of you in the car. Trust me, I drive in Los Angeles all the time. There's honestly nothing that you can do for it. So, yeah, just explain it to the police. I'm sure they'll understand. It'll be fine.
Here's my Dear Abby question. Dear Abby, Flane is asking for a fish McGriddle, but McDonald's doesn't make them. How do I convince McDonald's to make it for Flane? You go to school for a solid year, you battle all around the countryside, and then you take your well-trained battalion into McDonald's and force them to make a freaking McGriddle! So saith the church.
So saith the church.
Well-trained troops and a full-on assault.
Yeah.
Give her the fish she craves.
That's right. Give her the fish she craves. A student named Karen has been bothering Bernadette lately. What should I do about you? What should I do about her? So, as a matter of fact, you can't do anything about Karen. Karen can only do things to you. So, I think for the most part, you need to run the away from Karen. Otherwise, she's gonna you up in a really seriously bad way. So no, you leave Karen alone. You ever let sleeping dogs lie? You just leave Karen alone. Okay? You leave Karen alone. Dear Abby, how can I summon Exodia, the Forbidden One, if Edelgard keeps summoning Dark Magicians? I'm assuming Exodia is a kind of laundry detergent. Like, that's what it sounds like. Like, for the cleanest shirts, use Exodia. So probably just go to Walmart and pick it up. I don't know why you're having a problem with that. Yo, That's Radical asks, Dear Abbey, Flame keeps stealing all my fish. How can I get her to stop? You cannot. Space City Cat asks, Dear Abbey, how can I get Claude to stop stealing my girl? You cannot. Just in Time 697 asks, Dear Abbey, how do I get Lorenz to talk to me? Be a female. So if you're a female, you've already got that ahead of you, because I think he talks to anything that is a female. Yeah, I think that's it. So if you're not a female, you could pull the classic Bugs Bunny and dress up like a female, go after him as though he was Elmer Fudd. So I think femininity is the important part to get Lorenz to talk to you. That and I don't know, be a noble. If you can't be a female, be a noble. 003D asks, Dear Abby, what am I gonna do with all these burgers? Grill every last one of them. BB asks, Dear Abby, do deer have barbers for their antlers? No, that's awful. Why would you do that to antlers? You don't cut them. It takes a really long time for them to grow. They're made out of bone. You don't just cut them off. Is that where the word barbarous comes from? It comes from barbers because they want to cut your antlers? No, you don't do that. Draknir asks, Dear Abby, a game I'm waiting to come out soon had some verified leaks that I'm trying to avoid. However, I've been extremely tempted to peek at them. What can I do to distract myself until the game gets released? What you can do is you can actually cause real leaks in your house. So poke holes in your pipes so that water is actually physically leaking, and you'll prioritize where your attention is super quick. I promise. Hybrid Shadows asks, Dear Abby, I'm only but a small fawn. How can I begin to dismantle the current society and establish a new peaceful world for all deer? Dude, I don't think you're going to have to worry about that. I think the world's going to take itself apart.
Dear Abby, how many deer does it take to change a light bulb? It depends on how many little specky bits the deer has on the horn.
I was going to say I have no idea. It's the quality,
that was good.
The quality content.
That was really good.
Quality content you
really
come
good.
here for. Charmy asks, Dear Abby, is it possible to quell my friend's crush on Claude? No. Soka Juwaka asks, Dear Abby, how can I get through the Black Eagle route? There's a Black Eagle route? What was the okay, have I ever considered flipping the camera upside down? No. I have not considered flipping the camera upside down. 8-Bit Crusader asks, Dear Abby, I became an uncle yesterday. Congratulations. How young is too young to start teaching my nephew deer tricks? Please don't teach infants deer tricks. So you need to wait at least 3 to 4 days after they are introduced to the world before you start doing anything even remotely dangerous with babies. They're very fragile. Just be careful, okay? How young is too young? Now is too young. Violet says it's my turn on the Xbox, but Claude still won't get off. Tips on how to convince him? Just explain to him that racist people wouldn't get off the Xbox. And I think he'd be like, whoa, he dropped that thing like it was a hot potato. Devil Jihashi asks, Dear Abby, my child is being a little brat. What venison recipes do you recommend? Are you serious? You want to know how to cook deer? You come onto my stream. And start talking about cooking deer? Why don't you make an eagle salad? Devil Jahashi. How does the banhammer taste? You want to how about a banhammer steak? Oh. Momgin asks, as a deer in training, I need lots of nutrients. What are the best things to eat as a growing deer? Based on this stream, I would say children. It's an inside joke.
Okay, gotcha. Ziren says, Dear
Sure.
Abby, are Thanos and Ignatz the same person? No, Thanos is a gumdrop, and Ignatz is a little boy.
Quiet Kevin asks, Hey Joe, Dear Abby, I'll replace it. What would it take to let Karen join the Golden Deer? I can't stop Karen from joining the Golden Deer. Are you crazy? She just comes in and sits down and eats your food. And she's always like, oh, did you have any Fritos around? Oh, look at this. And then she's always eating all your peanuts. And like, it's just ridiculous. She comes in and like, the fridge is empty. You can't stop Karen. You can only accept Karen or run. And I am running. Houndour asks, Dear Abby, how do I save my students from a falling gingerbread house? Why would you ask that question? Is it because that someone you know doesn't know how to build a gingerbread house very well? Are you insinuating something? The real answer to that question is pick someone to build the gingerbread house who isn't an idiot with dexterous art forms. That's the way that you do that. Draknir asks, Dear Abby, I've been trying all year to be a good little deer, but my house leader has had us doing some holiday pranks lately. How can I be sure I'm still on Santa Claus' nice list? Well, if you're one of the deer, and I can't believe, I'm just thinking of this right now. Santa Claus and the 8 golden deer. Okay, who's gonna drive Santa Claus' sleigh? The golden deer. Like how... I don't know what to do with this now. I need to find an artist immediately who can draw this. I need to commission someone to draw Santa Claus and the 8 golden deer. It needs to happen. Chris Jello asks, Dear Abby, fellow deer here, I'm really into hooves. Am I normal? Yes, you're normal. We do not kink shame on this chat. So whatever you're into, if it's hooves, if it's horns, if it's tails, whatever, you know, you do you. But always respect other deer's body autonomy, okay? Just because you like hooves doesn't mean that they do, or doesn't mean that they want you staring at their hooves all day when they're out at the grocery store wearing a nice pair of flip-flops or something like that, okay? So you be respectful, but you do you, okay? Beaming Crimson, I have personal experience with Beaming Crimson asks, Dear Abby, I'm having issues with the Nara deer headbutting me. Any idea on how to get them to stop? Throw away all of your food. 100% of your food needs to be nowhere near you, and they have to know it. If you just hold up your hands and you're like, I don't have food. Also, if you do the sign of the golden deer, they'll know. They'll give you like a little deer wink. They'll be like, and then they'll sort of walk away. So that'll be good. Full Metal Kira asks, Dear Abby, I failed my road test today because I can't parallel park. How do I master the parallel parking skill? So, it's actually super interesting that you would ask that, because I am a master of parallel parking, and my wife was just telling me how much she liked the fact that I taught her how to parallel park. I need a prop. Hang on one second. Okay, luckily I have all these batteries around that look like cars, okay? So, you've got one car here, and you've got another car here, and you're coming up. The first thing you do is you line up your back bumper of your car with the back bumper of the car in front, okay? You turn your wheel to the left and start going, and you need to point the very center of the back of your window, your back windshield. Point the very center of it at the headlight of this car. This headlight here of this car. Go straight at the headlight. And as soon as you see the front of your car start to pass the back taillight of the front car, start turning your wheel and it'll come right in. I guarantee you that will work every time. So, refresher. Pull right up until your back bumper is even with this back bumper. You need to point the center of your windshield directly at the headlight, the right headlight of the car behind, and start going back. So it's to be like this movement. As soon as you're about to pass the tail light, start turning the wheel in, and it will be perfect every single time. That's it. That's the best thing you're gonna get in this entire stream, guys. Memegan or Morganix asks, Dear Abby, are there any sacred dances of the golden deer? If so, what are they? Yes, but shh. Paragon Greninja asks, so I just joined the Golden Deer house, but I'm already sick of seeing Lawrence every day. What can I do to avoid seeing him? Close your eyes. That'll work.
That actually does work.
It works.
And if you
100% of the time.
And if he keeps talking to you, you could just kill him.
Murder is So this is Fire Emblem Three Houses.
Murder's okay.
Murder is always an
Murder
option.
is okay.
Always an option.
I believe in you. Murder's okay.
Shaft the Ripper asks, Dear Abby, all of my friends lewdly hold hooves in public. How can I convince them that such activities are best kept private so they may stay blessed in the eyes of the goddess? Well, the first thing you can do is come out of the 11th century, you Quaker. Public displays of affection are okay, and it's not okay to hoof shame. So maybe you should be asking, what can I do inside here to change? Because I think this is where you need to change.
Paradox Prophet 615 asks, Dear Abby, Seth is so stiff he doesn't get any of my fresh memes. How do I get him to loosen up? Buddy, you can't squeeze blood from a stone. I got nothing for you there. Savage Cliff asks, Dear Abby, Ferdinand and Lawrence are fighting over who is more noble. What should I do? Laugh. Infidus Files asks, Dear Abby, everyone wants me to stay hydrated. How can I prove that I am the most hydrated deer at the river? You can't, because no matter what you do, no matter how much water you drink, people will continually tell you to stay hydrated, and it just doesn't matter. So you're just going to have to live with the fact that everybody's telling you to drink water, even though you probably have water intoxication, the symptoms of which are the exact same as dehydration.
Salble Squad Setteth asks, Dear Abby, a friend of mine came home today with a small creature inside a ball that he procured while he was out and about. He insists the creature is comfortable inside it, but I find it hard to believe him. How can I convince him that a ball is no suitable place for a hamster, and he should get it a proper cage? You get a human-sized ball, you stuff your friend inside of it, and you're like, how do you like that? He'll probably say, I don't. And then you can be like, well, don't do that to the hamster. Dear, a lot of birthday stuff. Abrakilo, Dear Abby, my birthday is coming up soon. One of the Blue Lions members recommended me to have a weed flavor cake. Do you have any recommendations of the type of cake a deer can eat? Deer can pretty much eat any kind of cake. Weeds are okay. I'm assuming you mean weeds and not weed. Real talk. Dandelions make for a great supplement when you're starving in the woods. I've eaten many dandelions in survival school. I've eaten lots of weeds. So, I don't know what to do with this information. We have a lot of revelations on this stream tonight. I've definitely eaten weeds. In large capacity. I mean, I would have handfuls of stonecrop and dandelions. Yeah.
Dear Abby, what do you get for a father whose birthday is on Halloween? Get him a Santa Claus doll, and it would just be super confusing, and you can just take that in. Don't explain anything. Just get him a Santa Claus doll and be like, happy birthday, Dad. Spooky. And that's it. KESW asks a very military question. How can a deer beat someone who has a reflective belt? Whoa. This is a paradox. How can a deer beat someone who has a reflective belt? Okay, well, the first thing is, the person trying to beat the person who has a reflective belt, or the deer, needs to not be driving a vehicle, right? So reflective belts are the most effective against oncoming vehicles. So I think it's important that the deer just stay dismounted, okay? That'd probably be the best way. For those of you that don't get the in-joke, in the military, there's sort of a... You know what? I'm not even going to explain it. Look up reflective belts in the military. Dear Abby, advice on how to attract a mate, male or female. Boy, I feel like I'm stepping into a freaking minefield with this one. So if you were a deer, right? The way that you attract deer, you actually, so if you were looking for a male mate, you would actually spread urine on yourself. Don't do that. You know what? Forget this question. I can't tell you to spread urine on yourself in good conscience. Look, the parallel parking thing was real. Don't do this. Don't do this, guys.
A Winter Rain Rose says, Dear Abby, I'm going to be traveling a lot more this year, but as a deer, it's hard for me to be on planes and be comfortable. Any tips? I'd say as a quadruped, you have an advantage over the bipeds of the world, so I would just hoof it.
Oh my God, I can't even... I regret everything.
Mwah.
Oh my God.
Mwah. That's the Abby portion for you right there.
Dear Abby, I let Claude borrow my Game Boy the other day and he won't give it back. I want to get it back before Pokemon comes out. What should I do to get it back? I would say just distract Claude with some wild ambition about uniting a country. If you can find it and be like, hey Claude, I know you got that Game Boy, but here's integration of races. He'll be like, what? And you'll be good. You'll get that. Just make sure to grab it quick. Soka Joe Waka asks, Dear Abby, I have a friend who annoyingly keeps on trying to convince me that the Black Eagle House is best. How can I once and for all prove to them that it's all about the golden deer? I think you should introduce them to Hubert and just let it go. And I think they'll know. Yeah, don't just make them sit down and have a conversation with Hubert and everything will just sort of unfold the way that you want it to.
Soft Guitar asks, Dear Abby, if one horn makes a unicorn, does that make a deer a dual corn or something else? Well, I don't know if you could see, there's a lot more than 2 here, so I think I'm approaching dodecacorn. If there's 12 here, I think we've got a dodecacorn. So you're right. That's the right lexicon. What does a deer even sound like? Can you give us an example? It's not quite a Dear Abby question, but it's actually I don't have a Dear Abby answer, but I do have some personal experience with deer in that I used to sleep outside every once in a while just to kind of like be outside. And one night I wake up in the middle of the night and I hear this like, and I freak out. I run back inside my house. I'm like, 16. And I'm like, wow, there was just monsters in my woods. And maybe like a year later, I'm watching the Discovery Channel, and it was just this, or Animal Planet or something like that. And it was like, yes, and now, hear the mating sounds of 2 deer engaging in copulation. And I was like, oh, wow, that's amazing. I ran away from 2 deer having sex in my backyard. So that's what deer even sound like. Dear Abby, I'm really sick of working on music theory, and I'm starting to think that becoming a full-time deer would improve my life. Any tips on how to make the transition between music theory, musician, to a deer easier? So I hate to break it to you, but all deer operate in the circle of fifths. So, music is going to pervade every aspect of your life, whether you're a deer or not. That may be a minor complaint. I don't want to diminish your goals here, but it's a major aspect of our lives. And whether you're going to scale up to something like being a full-fledged deer or not, that's entirely up to you. So, yeah. Javanaz asks, where can I get Lorenz's haircut in real life? The answer to that question is 1991.
Allie asks, Dear Abby, I'm participating in a fan dub of a series that I love dearly, but I am living in a college dorm, and some of the lines that I have to read are very emotionally charged and contain some startling confessions. As a deer, do you have any advice on how to not alarm the other deer in the dorm hall while recording? So here's a funny. I have actually several funny stories. This is real. I know of several voice actors that when they're traveling take rigs with them, like voice rigs. I do too. And there was somebody that was doing a video game audition in their hotel room. So they're like yelling, like grenade or whatever, right? Yeah, maybe they were dying, who knows? And then like 10 minutes later, it's like, hey, it's security, like trying to figure out who's getting murdered in their hotel room. I was recording something where I was shouting about like demons or something from my home studio back when I was like first starting, and I thought I was alone. And I opened like my booth door, and my mother-in-law is like right upstairs listening to me scream. I think it was for like a Xenogears remix, if I remember. So the real talk is actually just to like hang a sign on your door that says I'm recording for. That's what a lot of voice actors do. They'll call like the front desk and be like, "Hey, I'll be recording auditions. Please, I'm not murdering anyone in my room." which is exactly what a murderer would say.
Diana Blue asks, Dear Abby, what do deer fear if everyone is to fear the deer? Deer are fearless. They're fearless creatures that have no natural predators and are fierce and win all of their battles. So the answer is that deer fear nothing. Draw Mallow asks, Dear Abby, how many deer can fit in a McDonald's? It depends on how many you can get in there before the police arrive. BB asks, Dear Abby, I'm thinking about dressing up as a ghost for Halloween, but my antlers make a weird shape under the sheets. How do I fix this? That's easy. You dress up as multiple ghosts. So like you're one big ghost and all the antlers, those are all little ghosts. So really, you're an army of ghosts, okay? How about that?
Ray asks, Dear Abby, did you know Leone trained under Gerald? Yes! Skylin asks, Dear Abby, I need to finish my homework before midnight, but your streams are way too fun for me to leave. What should I do? Well, that answer is easy. Subscribers, and this is actually a serious answer, subscribers get access to my Discord server. And in my Discord server, we have a homework help channel. And people are doing homework there all the time, so just join us. That's easy. You can do both at the same time. Trolando asks, Dear Abby, how do I stop self-doubting myself? Try doubting other people. Aichin Chen asks, Dear Abby, there are deer stuck in my headlights. How do you get them unstuck? Just turn those headlights off. Dear Abby, stores nationwide have been capturing and stuffing chocolate deer in boxes and putting them up for sale. How do we rescue our fellow deer from this cruel fate before they get eaten? This asked by Yuki. Well, thank you for bringing this to my attention. I don't normally advocate violence on the stream, but I think it's time for us to rise up, and we will take over all the Macy's and JCPenney that we can until all of our deer comrades are free, and then we will eat them. Undeddy Sedith asks, Dear Abby, I have just obtained a pet parrot. It's very cute, and it makes me happy, but it flies away whenever I move. How can I convince my new feathered friend to stay by my side at all times? Sorry, Undaddy Sedith, but your moving days are over. If you want to keep that parrot, you have to be completely still for potentially the rest of your life. And if you're not willing to do that, then maybe you should have thought of that before you got a pet.
Dear Abby, how can I get Dimitri to be my friend? See, I have this theory that Dimitri actually wants to be pretty much anybody's friend. He just doesn't want to talk about it. So I think if you approach him nicely, he might be suspicious of you being a deer. So just try to like hide the fact that you're a deer. Maybe throw a sheet over the antlers if you have antlers. If you don't, if you're a doe, that's even easier. There's plenty. I mean, if you disguise yourself as a horse, the horses in Fire Emblem 3 Houses are super hairy, so just let it grow out. Okay, you'll look just like a horse.
Gaudier Cheese Gratin asks, Dear Abby, I got assigned an apology essay for calling Sedith a boomer. How do I get out of writing it? Don't write an apology essay, write an apologist essay, which is different. If you argue theology for the Central Church, I think Sedith will probably be, a lot of boomer questions today. Sedith will probably be quite impressed. Giovanni asks, Dear Abby, Ferdinand just joined the Golden Deer, but he won't stop saying his name every time I ask him a question. Should I just kill him? Or have Lysithea use magic to mute him? Boy, that's a tough one. I don't normally advocate violence against other Golden Deer members, and in this case, I think I'm going to hold to that. Lysithea is not a bad option, but I think it'd be better if you were to confuse him by introducing yourself as Ferdinand von Eyre. That'll at least, or why not both? Yeah, that's fine.
Kaylee Jade 93 asks, Dear Abby, what can I do if I feel inadequate about the size of my antlers? Kaylee, it's not the size of your antlers that matter. It's how hard you could drive them into your enemies.
Alana Claude asks, Dear Abby, Lawrence keeps following me around and honking at me and won't leave me alone. Would it be wrong of me to throw a barrage of cats at him to make him stop? Claude can help if he wants. I think you're confusing Lawrence with a goose. I think the thing that you have following you may actually be a goose. And I read on Twitter the other day that someone who had geese, whenever the geese would approach her in a not nice fashion, you actually grab the goose by the neck and just like, you yeet the goose. I'm serious. This is actually serious. I read this on Twitter. Someone was like, I have geese and this is how you deal with them. You grab them by the neck, you shake the out of them, and then you yeet them. You just throw them. So I suggest treating this particular goose, or if it happens to be Lawrence, just do the same thing. It'll work. Anchin Chen asks, Dear Abby, I finally got the antlers unstuck. Now there are deer all over the car. What do I do? Now, I don't know which way to interpret this. You got the antlers unstuck because you struck a deer with your vehicle and now there's deer all over the car? Or your antlers were in a car and now all the other deer have come to visit you? I'm gonna go with the one that doesn't involve members of the deer kind spread all over the pavement and say, crack open some salt beers and have a party. What's the deer's best gift for a sibling? If your sibling is a deer, or if it's like an adopted kind of situation, if the sibling is a deer, again, I'm going with the default gift. You guys got to get this down. It is, what is it, chat? It's salt. Everyone's posting it in chat. Yes. Great. I've recently been diagnosed with OCD, obsessive claw disorder. Ever since the day I saw his claudacious figure, Lord Frosty von Punpocalypse is gonna love this question. Ever since the day I saw his claudacious figure and heard his voice, I've been claude-struck. The claudometer of my heart is a constant pitter-patter whenever I see him. It's very claudable. Oh God, I've been very claudspicious and claudstentatious when he comes around. I can't even do this. And when he does notice me, I'm on Claude 9. My claudacity might become a claudastrophe. My question may be claudable enough for the golden deer of greatness to answer. Would Claude consider being my friend? Yes. Yes. You're all good. That was rough. That was hard. Malarkey asked, I have to take a second. I'm going to take a sip of water. It was beautiful. Blam Gamer Chamber asks, Dear Abby, I've been feeling lost recently, and I need some help with it. Could I get some inspirational quotes from you? Go kick life's ass. I'm loving it. Soft Guitar / Jen asks, Dear Abby, lately there have been some small creatures, or pocket monsters, as we like to call them, running in the woods and fighting each other. How do we get rid of these monsters? You don't get rid of them. You catch those. Dear Abby, our mommy, Hina, hosted a spooky movie night on Halloween, and the movie was so scary I haven't slept since then. How do I fall asleep again? Don't fall asleep. Freddy Krueger's gonna get you. Are you crazy? Totally not Byleth. Omega asks, Dear Abby, I got my girlfriend into the academy. Congratulations to your girlfriend. And she immediately fell for Dimitri and Ash. How can I convince her that our dear leader is best lad? If you were to convince Claude to perhaps poison one or both of the competing men, he would probably be convinced to do so. So I would just maybe drop him a note in the suggestion box, the one in the cathedral, the advice box, and yeah, I think that'll be fine. That'll be fine. Tales of Zalua asks, what's your favorite scene from Bambi? How about the you scene? What's your favorite scene from Bambi? Dear Abby, my young fawn and I like to watch a certain golden deer on TV together, but unfortunately she's repeating his cursing. I am very particular about bleeping out everything that I say. So I guess your young fawn is really good at reading lips. So, super sorry about that. Rated T for teen.
003D asks, Dear Abby, Lorenz creeps me out and scares me. What do?
I think you're pretty much on par with the rest of the population that is creeped out or scared by Lorenz. So you're not alone there. And if you can take any solace from the fact that you're not alone, maybe use that as your strength, that everyone feels the same way you do, and you'll get through it together. Commander Corin asks, Dear Abbey, a fellow deer has a crush on someone from the Blue Lion House and wants to transfer. How can I convince them to stay in the Golden Deer House? You go recruit that Blue Lion member for your friend. If you're a real friend, you're gonna go have tea, you're gonna give him riding boots, you're gonna give him owl feathers that you find all over the place. You don't let that friend go to the Blue Lions. You bring the apple of your friend's eye over to Golden Deer.
I'm really feeling it, asks Dear Abby, I love hugging my fellow fawns, but I keep hitting them with my antlers by accident. What do I do? What are you hugging them with? I mean, why are you hugging them with your antlers down? Use your arms like a real person. I think you need to look up hugging and try to figure out what hugging really is, because if you're hugging head first, I think that's a different thing. Living Garbage asks, Dear Abby, I just found out I'm actually a goose. I always thought I was a deer. My life is a lie. What do I do? I don't know, I guess your goose is cooked. Ray asks, Dear Abby, other deer have been headbutting me and screaming vibe check. How do I get them to stop? You vibe check them. That's all you gotta do. Also call Hilda. Dear Abby, White Fang asks, Dear Abby, every day when I drive to school, the local geese and turkeys delay my commute by walking out in front of cars, refusing to let us pass. Is there any way to convince these avians to allow us passage? So the turkeys, I'm not so, like, turkeys generally tend to be, like, just mean. I don't know what their deal is. But the geese, you just need to give them something better to do. So if you can convince them to, like, really mess with somebody, that'll be fine. So you'll get them out of the way. So give them something better to do, and they'll be okay. Sandad Claus asks, Dear Abby, my friend Nasser will be doing a Claus play at Anime NYC this weekend. Could you give him any words of advice to get him get more in the role or encouragement? So we got some Claude's play going on at Anime NYC, which I'll not be at, unfortunately. I miss New York. So for how to get more in the role, honestly, if he just keeps his hands like this every once in a while, that'll get him in a role, because that's what Claude does pretty much every couple. Kind of one of these. That's like a warm-up. That's the first Claude warm-up. I think if he does that, he's gonna be golden. Call of White Fang asks, Dear Abby, I'm supposed to be leaving on a trip this Friday, but I'm not the brightest deer, and I'm worried I may get lost in the airport. Is there any way for me to find my way if I become lost? I think the first thing you should do if you're lost in an airport is just be a deer. People will come to you. It's not a normal thing to be a deer in an airport. They may just be a deer. I think that's going to be a good way. Otherwise, scream as loud as you can. Dear Abby, what do I do about pesky pigeons? They keep making a mess. Here's another story. There's a lot of stories that have been coming out tonight from these questions. These are like weirdly apropos questions. I won't tell you what game studio it was, but I was on a game studio's lot once and talking with a director, and he was like, hey, do you notice that the campus is really clean? And I said, yeah, it's super clean. He's like, yeah, there's no bird poop anywhere, is there? And I was like, well, now that you mention it, there is no bird poop. He's like, you want to know how we do it? I was like, well, I was kind of assuming you hired someone to clean it. He's like, no, we have a falcon. So this particular place hires a falcon to like come and hunt the pigeons, like just engages nature right on the lot. That's amazing. So the answer for you, get a falcon. Be cool. That's it. And that's our last Dear Abby for the year, guys.